Hi, welcome to Playing with Fire, where we cover the hottest trends in the industry and teach you different goals and strategies on how you can achieve financial independence, retire early, fire in the process. I'm your host, Olivia Higgins. What is this episode all about? You'll find out very soon. Welcome back. Once again, I'm Olivia Higgins. You're on Playing with Fire here in our Moomoo Singapore studio. Always glad to have you here with us. Now remember, today is all about education, okay? Don't take anything as financial advice, but remember, we're here to network with everyone because today we've got a special guest. He's our very own intern at Moomoo Singapore. Let's welcome our business student, Justin Lian.
Hi everyone, I'm Justin, currently a student at SIM RMIT, and I'm currently interning at Moomoo, and so far it's been a great experience.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that, Justin. Now, we work very closely together, but today, Gen Z speaks, right? We want to hear your opinions. Now, the reason why we even got to this in the first place is because we always speak to Justin. We always figure out what he wants to know, and he has so many thoughts and ideas. You're incredible. So that's why we're like, let's bring you onto the show so that we can debate today's topic. Now, today's topic, we're actually going to touch on an important question. Are Gen Zs more crazy about investing than millennials? Now, I'm in the middle of millennials and Gen Zs. So I can give you a fresh perspective of what that's all about. Now, let's start with the first topic. Is it really true? Do you agree? Yes or no?
Do I agree on whether Gen Zs are more crazy on investing? I would say I disagree as of now.
Why do you disagree?
There are multiple reasons as to why I disagree. Firstly is, I would say that Gen Zs sometimes, some of us may lack the income to actually invest.
Yeah.
If we were to take a look at the jobs that Gen Zs can take, at this age, most of us are in our universities, polytechnics.
Yeah, like yourself, right?
Yeah, like myself. In our free time, let's say we can do a part-time job that earns us $10 an hour. That's probably the market rate right now. Along with that, we need to balance, for example, our own daily expenses like food, maybe university expenses where we need to buy books to study. We need to save up, for example, laptop. I think all these really eat into the amount of money that Gen Zs have as to whether they can actually invest. So I would say that right now, due to, for example, the income situation of most Gen Zs right now, I would say that I would disagree that Gen Zs are more crazy about investing.
But I also disagree with that because then that's a different form of investing, right? Let's unpack that a little bit. You know, the investing we're talking about is, all kinds of forms. I guess with Moomoo Singapore, for example, we're teaching financial literacy. How do you put together a portfolio, investment, strategies? But then, maybe that's a different kind of investment, which you're doing right now. It's intangible for the future.
It's very intangible compared to Gen Zs invest typically on themselves. They are not at the age where we think about money so far in life.
Yeah. So what do you spend on then? I'm curious.
What do I spend on? Food. Eating here is very expensive.
He loves food. So, what about the experiences? Because we go on TikTok, you go on Instagram Reels and all that. You see a lot of the younger people, they are all posting about traveling. Or like going to different conventions, but like at the same time doing influencer or marketing jobs. Like what's that all about? Do you do that too?
No. I'm not good enough to be an influencer.
Yeah.
So I would say that
soon, Justin.
With the debut here?
Yeah, with this debut.
I would say that what I spend on is my own hobbies. So for example, anime, gaming. Because I do sometimes game and sometimes that costs money as well. But other than that, I keep it very bare bones, very simple. Daily expenses. That's it. Food. Daily expenses, that's it.
Okay.
If it's things I want, I will normally try to see how much I have in my bank first.
Yeah. So every month, that's
how
your plan, yeah?
That's my plan.
You take it month by month.
I take it month by month.
Is that the perspective of Gen Z? Because, for example, for the millennials, like we experienced both ends of the spectrum. Like
Yup.
we experience both working hard for what
Yes.
we want, and at the same time not having to work so hard because we're also kind of, inheriting what our parents worked so hard
Yes.
for. So in a way, we kind of had both the security element, but also the working hard element.
Yeah.
And I'm generalizing here, but I think for most of our social networks, or at least growing up in Singapore, right, there's so much put in place already by our government, by the policies, to really like help try to kind of elevate this experience for the young people and provide a safety net. But I do think that even until today, we're still kind of lacking in like the financial literacy element, because I don't remember having courses at all
Yes.
trying to teach us about financial literacy. Do you? Or are you just learning from social media?
I would say that in terms of financial literacy, there is not much. It's all self-directed learning. It's not, for example, posted by people very actively. You must
Yeah.
you must take your own stance and say that, oh, this is something I want to learn about. Then you'll go towards it. However, I admit that there has been a boom in many different social media channels that have been promoting financial literacy,
Yeah, or FIRE, like this
In-
show
yup.
today.
and also in Singapore. So
Yep.
all these channels help to actually push out content that relates to financial literacy, which our Gen Z consumers can actually read up, understand more, and that's actually very good.
And is that the personality type? Because I know that when an influencer markets, like for example, a brand like Fendi or Prada, or those big brands getting leveraging on like the celebrities or like the influencers,
Yup.
they all flock and follow.
Yes.
Like, is that a personality trait? Like, do they do that with finance as well?
I wouldn't call it a personality trait. I would say that we see all these influencers as quote unquote role models.
Why? Is it because you don't because there's so much noise online, or
I would say that it's because maybe we relate to the type of content that they are pushing out. Then, as such, when we see them promote a concept or thing
Right.
that we really like and they really like, we are more inclined to follow them as well. It's more of a concept where, for example, you have, let's say, we treat the influencer as like the leader to promote something, then we just follow. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so I think maybe also there is that gap between like the two generations. Like,
Yes.
for example, we experience both the boom of the Nokia to the first iPhone to the latest. Like
Yep.
we saw the evolution of everything. I remember just playing Snake on my dad's phone, and then when my dad got a BlackBerry, I was, so amazed by that, and also the first iPhone and first iPod. But you guys were born into it.
We're thrown into it.
So you're so used to following people. You're so used to listening to other voices online, right?
Yes.
So is that also dangerous? Like, do you feel restricted in certain ways? And, let's come back to investing. Is there any way that you feel that's going to be a downside going forward?
Downside. I would say that from what we know, I'm sure we have seen YouTube advertisements where, let's say, they claim to know something can earn you don't know how much profit. I would say that what's dangerous is if all these people who don't have the know-how actually promote, let's say,
Yeah.
a scheme online,
Right.
and Gen Zs who follow the clout of the person, not knowing that the person actually has no knowledge on this, it will be dangerous for them because they'll be going into a hole that they may not return from in terms of
and they go deeper in the
they
rabbit
go
hole.
deeper in the rabbit hole.
Basically, yeah.
It may not end well for them in terms of, let's say, they might lose their money if they just blindly follow someone.
I think that's a good point. So, do you think because you're so self-aware. Yeah, I would say Justin is a very self-aware Gen Z person. My younger sister is also Gen Z, but I also think that she's very similar to you. She knows what to look out for in different perceptions,
Yep.
and she can see what's biased and all that. But would you say like the ones who grew up in Singapore, let's say both Singapore residents and Singaporeans,
Okay.
are they different to the ones overseas?
In Singapore, I would say that we, as Gen Zs, personally, I think that we have quite a good life.
Yeah.
We live pretty sheltered compared
You're not
to...
out of the house by 18 or 21,
Yeah,
right?
we're not kicked out.
Only when you're married.
Yeah, we're not kicked out to live our own lives,
Yeah.
needing to hustle all day just to
Yeah.
earn money to pay for, example, our college fees.
Right.
Normally, it's our parents pay for us, or we take up bank loans. So, in a sense, we feel secure until the fact that the money hits, and then we realize we need to pay this off. So,
Has that happened to you?
I mean, it happened to me in NS. Because I just realized, wow, 24,000, that's a lot of
Yeah.
money that
I mean, it's more money than you've ever had in your
that
life.
I've ever seen in my
right?
life.
Yeah.
And it puts into perspective to me how expensive things are. Yeah, compared to last time. And for me,
What's your last time? What's your definition of last time?
in the past,
Just a few years ago, right?
yeah, university fees
the
wouldn't...
inflation hikes.
Yeah, university fees, from what I know, it came upwards to like 3,000, 4,000 more dollars as compared to the past 3-4 years ago,
Right.
which is like very expensive.
So when I went to uni here, compared to you going to uni,
Yeah, I would say that it's jarring to see how much growth in terms of money is needed to survive in Singapore. Yeah,
and I would say that's a phenomenon that's happening everywhere else in the world too,
Yep.
right? But it's just that in Singapore there are things in place to help with that.
yeah,
Yeah, and for example, if you're living in the U.S. and you're working a part-time job, waitressing or
Yes.
working in a bookstore, and you're just relying on tips, right? That's way more difficult.
yeah. That's way more difficult.
Than, for example, living in Australia, where you're being paid a minimum wage,
Yeah,
at
per
least
hour.
$25 an hour,
Yep.
doing just anything
Yep.
as a part-time job. So that's an interesting perspective. But when you look around at your friends and all that, have they started investing? Because I know you talk about it all the time. Even though you say that it's very expensive, but you try to have the discipline
Yeah.
to do that. Now tell us about your investment journey.
I would say that for me, I started during NS, cause I feel there isn't a better time to start in national
Why
service.
NS? Like, what was the reason for you to do that? Was there any story? Was there someone you were following in NS?
I would say that it's the fact that in national service, you're given a certain amount of allowance that is stable, that you cannot so-called lose. So, for me, I also need to think, okay, I have 24,000 that I need to pay off for my uni fees. How
Wow.
much am I going to, how much can I save? How much can I grow my money to make sure that when I actually do graduate, I can clear a certain amount of it off first to offset the pressure I feel. Because imagine going into the workforce, knowing the fact that I have 24,000 to pay before I start actually earning money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a scary thought.
It is.
Yeah, because
I agree with you. I think
you're-
a lot of the young people are facing this pressure. Yeah.
You just realize that when you go into the working world, my life hasn't started. I'm still behind because I need to pay this off. Yeah, that's
Do
my
you
logic.
feel that pressure even more? Because in a way, I think to the rest of the world, when you do NS, right?
Yeah.
Compulsory NS, which
Yes.
is national service, for those of you who don't know, the non-Singapore residents.
Yeah.
So, you do this, but then other people are already ahead 2-3 years in their curriculum, and you're just coming in. Don't you think that's also a pro point? Because you're kind of learning other skills and buying yourself time to accumulate the wealth. Have you ever seen it from that perspective?
I have, but I would say, okay, for these 2 years, especially in NS, it teaches you a lot of things, and it teaches you how to be mature. Yeah.
Yes, you
yeah.
go in a boy, you come out a man, right?
So
That's how it
yeah,
is.
so I would say that it's supposed to teach you to appreciate the simple things in life.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
heard that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've seen my own friends change.
Yes.
I
It's
think the
supposed to.
values are discipline, and they become way more accountable
Yes.
for their life. They take charge more, and I really like that. So in terms of actual practicalities, strategies, what do you do that is something that maybe someone tuning in, another Gen Z person, can try to do?
I would say that if you're looking to invest, go into stuff that you're interested in. So, for example, I'm interested in media. So, do your research into what you're interested in. Because if you're interested in something, you're more inclined to want to research
Like
more about
naturally.
it. It becomes
There's no
natural.
force.
Yeah, there's no force.
Yeah. What about like investing in the companies that you truly believe in? I know there's a huge theme surrounding sustainability now, and also, of course, tech. But you know, let's talk about just where we're going
Yep.
as a global, you know, climate movement. I guess you
Yep.
know everyone is jumping on this bandwagon. All the big companies are going, you know, net zero for this.
Yep.
Gen Z are aligned with that kind of topic. Yeah.
I would say that we are. Because we care quite a bit about the world. Yeah, especially where it's moving towards. So I would say that we are also more inclined towards companies that want to help someone, a cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very wholesome in a way. We
Yeah.
like that.
That seems to be similar to what we talked about. They invest in experiences.
Yep.
You know, some might see it as hedonistic for the long term,
Yep.
and that comes with its downsides. But like this idea of the feeling, the movement, the following, is
Yes.
something so intangible, right? Whereas I think the millennials, on the other hand, I do have to see what's in it for me
Okay.
on like numbers wise,
Yeah.
and at the same time also whether it's aligned with my values. So I'm always looking for the balance. Whereas I think, for example, even my younger sister,
Yep.
she just goes all in first.
Yep.
And then she deals with the other things later, right? Very similar to you as
Yep.
well, right? What would you say then are ways I guess Gen Z in general can overcome these potential downsides of doing that?
Firstly, is to actually have self-control. Yeah, it's to be disciplined.
I think that's everyone, yeah.
Yeah. But if you want to, let's say, become more financially literate, want to save more, it all boils down to very simple. Earn your money, save it, don't spend it willy-nilly, and just appreciate that money does not last forever, and we won't have an infinite supply. Yeah, it's to know the effect, know the value of money, and what it can do. Yeah, that's one advice I would give Gen Zs, especially those who are watching this, to actually just start thinking more, start thinking about your future, start thinking about the value of money, and to just appreciate it. Don't let it go to waste, cause you never know. All this money that you spend
Absolutely.
right now can come in handy in the future, but you don't know when.
Right. Wow, that is quite a good point you brought up there. Even I'm like getting goosebumps, Justin. You are so wise. So I think the audience out there, right, you've got questions for him. Keep them coming. And if you like content like this, you want to see a part 2 of Justin and maybe his friends to come
Yep.
on board to talk about Gen Z, definitely like and subscribe right now if you want to watch more content like this, if you're tuning in on YouTube or in-app. But Justin, those points there about the safety net, not waiting till it's too late, you know, those are such important points, not just for Gen Zs, but for
Everyone.
millennials and everyone listening out there. So thanks for sharing that. Really, really important. Now, I've got some community questions for you, Justin. First question for you. What is one mistake you made this year?
One mistake, not just in investing, but
I mean, it could be
overall.
investing
Okay.
and then in general.
In general. What's one mistake? Okay, in terms of work, okay, not here. School wise, I would say that being able to balance my time well was quite harsh, because I came out of NS.
When was that? Last year? Or
No, this year.
which month?
July 4th.
July.
July 4th to be exact, because I always remember that date now. Then I started uni July 6th. So it's
Okay.
just 2 days of rest. Yeah.
Is that like a pattern with you? You seem to be wanting to do that.
No. I don't. It's just
going.
it's just that okay, because local uni starts in August, so they have a break. But for private uni, it starts in July.
Okay.
So
okay.
I had no break, and coupled
2
with
days though. 48 hours.
that's not good enough. Coupled with the fact that also that when I haven't studied for years, for 2 years to be exact. So, coupled with the fact that I need to focus again.
Right.
And
Get
handle
those rusty chains going.
and handle all the exams, projects. It was certainly not easy. And I would say that I didn't realize how rusty I was. Yeah.
So you were seriously just thrown into the deep end
Yeah.
again.
So I've stayed up for any assignment in my life before university. My first university assignment, I stayed up for the whole night. So I would
Did you stay up all night for the show, preparing for the show?
I'm sleeping. So I would say that balancing my time, and not letting the stress get to me so much, right, was a huge mistake that I made. Yeah, because getting thrown into that sort of environment after 2 years of not studying, I think it's not easy.
Yeah. So what would you have done differently? Because I know people who keep themselves active with other courses during their NS, for example, or during any gap year, right? For those of you who don't have to do NS, right? The gap year, for example, allows them to have any experiences, again, traveling, knowing about people, to keep those learning gears ongoing all the time.
Personally, what I would have done is, honestly, I would have taken things a bit easier so that I wouldn't put so much stress on myself, because honestly I was very tired.
Yeah.
It was
burnt out.
It was
almost.
It was at the point where it's like, I wouldn't say it's anxiety, but when I was about to submit my report, I was so pumped up with, I wouldn't say adrenaline, to the point where I felt nauseous.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah, so
that's anxiety related.
Yeah, so it was very bad for me, because I was just so focused on getting the assignment done that I neglected like my physical and mental health.
That is something you definitely learned, right?
Yeah.
Because now you're sort of like trying to balance it and regain the balance for yourself. Because I think burnout is just another theme we can explore, right?
Yep.
That's something else, not just in investing, but just as a value or a trait.
Yes.
Because when you're in that cusp of burnout, I think everyone has experienced some form of this in their life, right? Where you're trying to wear many hats, when you're trying to do the best you can in every front of your life, and then you sort of come to a point where you can't move anymore.
You just stop.
And you stop.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that is something, we have to learn how to manage.
Yes.
I think burnout also exists in investing.
Yeah.
When I first started, I remember when I first started investing, I wouldn't stop looking at my phone. And I remember this was like pre-COVID.
Yep.
I wouldn't stop. I would refresh that when markets open, when markets close. And that sort of anxiety was something I learned to manage because I realized that I was putting too much emotion and value to the money that I was putting in. So what I learned is that when I do put something aside for investing, I make sure that I'm willing to lose it as well. That I'm okay losing it. That's when I know it's something that I can live with, a choice that I made that I can live with. Yeah, and I think that something comes with experience and pain. Right? You learn together and all that. So thanks for sharing your story with that.
No worries.
We have another question. So what are some tools you use to learn at investing at the beginning, Justin?
In the beginning, I would say for me, I read up on, for example, because I'm interested in media. So for me is I read up on the media companies that I'm interested in. Because mainly is to also know the company better, how well they've been doing, any upcoming releases that can affect their stock value. Because I feel like, personally, in terms of media companies, it's very volatile and it's dependent on how well, for example, their releases do, which is in the hands of public perception. Yeah, so I would say that.
That's interesting, yeah.
So that's how I started my journey. In terms of tools, it's just doing research. Yes.
What sort of media are you talking about? Like, what's the context? Are you talking about global media? Are you talking about the US or Singapore?
I would say that it's normally, it shows that I'm interested in. For example, concepts I'm interested in, like Walt Disney. So I would say that Netflix, all these things are medias that I'm interested in. So I'll put in the effort to actually research and actually know what's upcoming. So
Your competitors
Yeah,
as
competitors.
well. How they changing the media landscape. That's great. And
Yeah.
that's something you develop on your own, right? It was an interest that you
it's
had.
an interest.
And you decided to listen to it,
Yep.
knowing yourself, and then pursuing it.
Yep.
Yeah? Really great. Now, how much did you start to invest with? That was the next question. Thank you
I would
for
say
that.
that, okay, my NS money isn't high. It's
I
like
mean, just give us a range.
it's like barely 580.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like
580? Like
580.
580?
Like my total allowance is like
Yeah.
at the beginning is like 580. So it gone up to like the highest I reached was 700.
Okay.
So at the lowest I just set aside like 200.
Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
you start somewhere.
Yeah.
You have to start.
You have to start somewhere. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to put myself in a position where, cause it's also very little money. It's like 600, 500 plus 600 is not a lot. If we were to, let's say if I were to lose that 200, that's like almost half of it's gone.
I know, and
Yeah.
that's just, we wouldn't want that happening at all, right? I think that's the part where we differ. I think because millennials now, they are now the largest proportion in the world,
I
right?
think so.
Working as well and having that additional income to at least either spend or put into more investments.
Yep.
And there are so many recent articles on this. You should definitely read up on this. But I think, what we're really trying to get at is, again, what are you willing to lose? And what are you willing to part with
Yep.
before,
Jump in.
you jump in, and also to retain your sleep at night.
Yeah.
I think that's really
'Cause you-
important that
you
you can
wouldn't
sleep.
You wouldn't want to keep thinking and just obsess
that
over
issue.
and just
Yeah.
obsess over. Oh, what if I lose this amount of
Yeah.
money every night?
Yeah.
It-
You had
it-
that at the beginning?
There's this fear lah. I mean,
There's a fear, yeah.
there's a fear because with every investment, definitely it comes with risk. I would say that the lower the amount of money you have, and the amount of money you sacrifice also plays into a part as to how anxious you are. Because, for example, let's say you have high income, you invest a certain amount, while you may be afraid that you lose that money.
Yeah.
To a person who only has $600 amount of income, that's a totally different mindset.
Exactly. That was
whereby-
what I was trying to get at, right?
Yeah.
Like that fear lessens or becomes
Yeah.
magnified
Yeah,
with the amount you're playing with.
yeah, it becomes
Yeah.
magnified with the amount you're playing with and how much you earn.
Yes.
How much you have how much total amount of chips you have to put into investments.
Right.
Yeah.
Next question, Justin. So tell us about any passive income strategies that you have or plan to do.
Passive income strategies. Okay, I have thoughts. I see a lot of people doing side hustles.
Yes, I mean,
Yeah.
I started on Twitch, and
Yeah.
I still have it as a passive income
Yeah.
stream.
So if we were to
Yeah.
take a look at what the younger generation are doing, some of them are becoming influencers, becoming DJs. All these are forms of income that they can actually get.
Are you going to be a DJ, Justin?
No, I'm not musically inclined or talented enough to do so.
But you love anime and manga.
Yeah,
You
so
have this fascination
yeah,
with that
so I would
industry.
say that in terms of side hustles, it needs to be creative. It needs to
Enhance.
enhance. It needs to be appealing to the audience for it to generate good income, good passive income as a side hustle. So that's what I would say. Currently, I have no form of idea, but any advice I would give to Gen Zs looking to start a side hustle would be to find something you're passionate in, find something that you can turn into something that appeals to the audience. Yep.
And maybe eventually with that main goal of becoming your main hustle,
Yep.
right? I think that would be the best case scenario if that can just be your full-time job eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
But it takes years, and it takes a lot of
Lot.
persistence and discipline.
Yep.
Now, next question, Justin, do you have any perceptions about the strawberry generation? And how
Yep.
would you say you're different from that?
It's a term that's been definitely passed around a lot, especially to Gen Zs. I think
Yeah.
honestly, it's just a cycle. I think every
Wait, for those of them who don't know, what
Yeah.
is it? What is strawberry generation?
strawberry generation
Strawberry?
basically means a generation, a group of people, generation that has been spoiled, more
Right,
spoiled,
spoiled or easy life.
Yes.
Right. Born into
sheltered,
easy.
born into the sheltered life, have everything given to you.
Right. It was actually a Taiwanese term.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came from a saying.
A lot of my older friends, they call it as Gen Zs can't take hardship.
Right.
Yep.
And would you dispute that?
Depends on family values.
Absolutely.
Is
Yeah.
dependent on how you've been raised. Cause you can be very rich, but you still know to respect others who, or you can
Yeah.
be very
Because
rich.
you can't
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah, you can't choose.
Essentially.
You
when
can't
you're-
choose where you're born into. You
Yeah.
can't choose the wealth that you're born into.
Yeah.
If we could, I'm pretty sure most of us would want to be born in a wealthy family, but that's not life, lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I would say that appreciate the lot you've been given, and in terms of Gen Zs being a strawberry generation,
Mm-hmm.
some of it is true, some of it is not. It's just that when you realize how important it is for someone to teach you the value of money, how important it is to teach someone the value of hard work. Because I've seen people who are rich at my age who are very sheltered. Yeah, so
But in a bad way. Sheltered,
too sheltered in a
Yeah.
way where
not in an educational way, but in a way that will be bad for them in the long term.
it's
Right?
it's a just because you have money doesn't mean you can solve everything with it.
But there is a perception that
There's
they can.
they can.
Right? Yeah.
To them it means that my family is rich. Like I can just throw money and it's solved. Yeah. Yeah. And another thing is teach them the value of hard work, because for example, let's say some of us, we just like, if you have money, I see people who Grab every day, who don't even take the public transport.
I mean,
Yeah.
now that you mentioned it, people love Grab
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, you're not
It
wrong.
makes our lives easier, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also guilty of that.
Yep.
On one of our street interviews, the latest one, go on our YouTube and check it out.
Yep.
There was one of the guys on there. I think he's also around Gen Z or in the middle of that.
Okay.
He said he spends 50% of his pay on Grab.
Oh, that's
every day.
crazy. Oh, that's crazy.
You saw it too, right?
Yeah,
you
that's
saw the
crazy.
street
Yeah,
interview.
yeah.
Go check it out.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's something that people do
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah. I can't imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It may play into a point where, maybe it's your sleeping schedule. Maybe you just need to fix your sleeping schedule. Then you wake up earlier to take the public transport. But
Or maybe not try to pack so many things
Yeah.
in one day, because
Yeah.
that's what I do, and then I need Grab to help me to get to places
yeah, so I
on
would say
time.
Grab, let's view it as something that helps us. Let's not view it as something that enables us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good point there. Wow. He's so wise, everybody. I think we need a part 2. If you want to see a part 2, type it in the comments right now, okay? If you want to see Justin again. So I've got a last question here I'm going to pick from the audience.
Okay.
Now, what is one success story for yourself, or what would you consider success for investments this
Okay.
year? And what would you do differently for 2024? I mean, we only got a few weeks to go.
Success in investments. Honestly, for me, because currently I'm not I'm not earning a lot. I would say, I mean, it's intern pay. I don't expect to earn a lot. So I would say for me, as long as I don't lose so much money on my investments, that's already a win. That's to me already a win. So my goal,
I really like that.
yeah, my goal for 2024, I think it's very simple. To just continue pumping as much as I can afford to with, cause after this I'll be working part-time. Yeah, so
But as
it's
long
to-
as you keep going,
yeah, as long as you keep going,
right? At least
just
you're still earning.
at least you're still earning,
Yeah.
still generating some form, still putting insight into your savings, into
yes.
the different plans you have, different
Yeah.
schemes. I think that's for me the mission, the goal for 2024. Until I get a full-time income, then that's different. That'll
Yeah?
be different, yeah.
Will it be different? Because even if you get a full-time income, you're always looking for the next step. How can I earn more? How can I do more? We're always looking to progress each time, each stage of our lives. So would you say that's just your life value?
I would say, okay, because let's compare how much I'm earning now to how much I can potentially earn in the future. Let's say
What's your goal, if you want to share?
3.4 starting,
Yeah.
starting,
Starting,
yeah,
right?
starting 3.4
Fresh grad. In Singapore.
Yeah, in Singapore 3.4 I think is fine. Then I'll jump from there because with a bigger amount of money, I would say that maybe my risk appetite will change from safer. Maybe I can put in a bit more money.
Yeah.
So it boils down to the amount of money I have and how much money I'm willing to put into investments. Yep,
And that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
no worries.
Really, really important life skill there. Now, Justin, to round up our chat today, again, if you want to see Justin again, type in part 2 in the comment section. And if you like any of the points that he mentioned today, also type it in so that I know exactly what you want to see next. What is your final takeaway for everyone watching today?
For everyone watching today, especially if you're Gen Z, appreciate the money you have. Appreciate the money that's given to you by your parents. Don't waste that money on things that bring you short-term pleasures. Cause I know a lot of us, when we see that branded good online, we just like, oh my god, that's so cool. Let's just buy it right now. But you imagine you have 24,000 to pay off when you start working, and you at that point you won't even earn any money. Cause most of that money will still go into paying off your student loans. So all in all, my advice is appreciate the money and just also appreciate your parents. Yep.
So beautiful. What a way to end. That was Justin, everyone, our intern at Moomoo Singapore and a business student. Now, these values will definitely take you far in life. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome.
And experience. Now, everyone, tuning in right now, if you like content like this, also stay tuned for our podcast version also coming out soon. We'll share more details whenever that comes out. But remember, if you have any more questions, type it in the chat box right now. What you want to see next? Who you want to see next? Want to see Justin again? Type it in right now, okay? And as always, remember to like and to subscribe to our content, because this is where we really help you with your personal investment journeys and guide you with the educational tools so that you can achieve fire in the process. So we'll see you for the next episode of Playing with Fire. Once again, I'm Olivia Higgins. And remember, happy investing. Cheers, Justin.
Cheers.
Cheers.